provisions of the Indian Income Tax Act, because this fell for consideration before the Bombay High Court, and the argument of the revenue was that the taxing provisions in India are quite wide enough. In India, you can tax any income based on source, and it is wider than many countries which follow the OECD model. Capital asset itself has been widely defined in Section 2, subsection 14, meaning property of any kind held by an assessee, whether or not connected with his business or profession. Why I am saying this is because Vodafone actually sought to acquire 67% or so of assets held by HTIL, which was direct and indirect, but the remaining was held through Indian companies, Analjit Singh and others, by put and call options. The Bombay High Court said that itself has sufficient nexus because it means property of any kind held by an assessee, that too in India. The Supreme Court says they are only put and call options, and they have actually not been, the rights have not been exercised, they have not become tangible. That is not a proper answer. See, with those options, the company could exercise management rights. Therefore, virtually, it was a capital asset situated in India. Therefore, the Supreme Court failed to consider the wide ambit of the definition of capital asset. Likewise, Section 247 is also quite widely worded. Transfer in relation to a capital asset includes the sale, exchange, or relinquishment of the asset, or the extinguishment of any rights therein. The argument of the revenue was, this was not merely a case of actually a share transfer, exchange, or a coupon transfer, which happens, zero coupon transfers. This was a case where you seek to divest the interests of an undertaking or a business, which also, it is virtually, you are seeking to transfer rights. You actually put up a company or an undertaking which was in the nature of an infrastructure investment. If it was an infrastructure investment, that is different from merely transferring shares per se. Therefore, it was a case of extinguishment or divestment, which will actually squarely fall within the definition of 247, and not merely a case of transfer of one share of a Cayman Island company. Then Section 9 again is widely worded. The following incomes shall be deemed to accrue or arise in India. All income accruing or arising, whether directly or indirectly, through or from, I am not on any business connection, there is no business connection, or through or from any property in India, you also keep this aside, or through or from any asset, you even keep asset aside, or a source of income in India, that was a source of income in India, or through the transfer of a capital asset. Revenue relied upon, this was a source of income in India, and it was a transfer of a capital asset. And the argument of Vodafone was that Section 195 was not applicable, that is actually TDS provisions, was not applicable to a non-resident. Even that we sought to, some 195 is here, no? Yeah. 195 was not applicable to a non-resident. That was the argument put forth before the Bombay High Court. We said it starts with the expression any person responsible. Therefore, he does not seek to make a distinction between a resident or a non-resident, also equally applies to a non-resident, and there were cases decided by the Supreme Court where 195 was held to be applicable to a non-resident as well. So these were the provisions